on in that brain is bliss. This arousal is an ecstasy. This is arousal that is producing a transcendental state of joy. Open your eyes, and you begin to perceive your reality. Would you agree then, if you're not laying down any new circuits that are reflecting a new vision in your brain, so you're thinking and feeling equal to everything known in your life, and if you believe that your thoughts create something unknown, you got to stop thinking the same thought. So then most people then, who aren't being defined by a vision of the future, and they're left with the circuitry and the emotions of the past. Once you move into that river of change from the old self to the new self, and you stop making the same choices and it feels uncomfortable, you're in the unknown. That is void of everything known. And that is the perfect place that you have to create in. And the act of closing your eyes and rehearsing who you're going to be in that day begins to install the neurological hardware in your brain to look like you already did it. Your brain looked like you already had the experience. Now it's no longer a record of the past. You've primed your brain into the future, and now you have the circuits to behave that way. And the research shows you can absolutely do that. If you're going into a new future and you're feeling suffering, and that suffering is your past, and you want to be happy, you can't take it. Even though you want to, you got to leave that. If I had a tough past and I don't feel grateful for anything, I got to teach my body what it would feel like to be grateful for life again. And in order for your healing to begin, you have to feel wholeness before it happens. Because if you're waiting for the diagnosis to come back to you to say that you're healed, then you're waiting for something in your outer world to change how you feel in your inner world, and you're separate from that experience. To change, then, is to be greater than the body. To be greater than the body conditioned emotionally into the past, or greater than the body as a habit. Remember, the body becomes the mind. That's a habit. The habit of the future on a program. If something in your environment began to change the way you were feeling and thinking, you would say, I'm back to the unconscious program that I'm a victim in my life. Because if I said to you, why are you unhappy? You'd say, that person or that condition is controlling my feelings and thoughts. And I'm back into the program. But if you catch yourself, that's another victory. And if the environment is that strong, that it conditions us back into our old biology, if the body has been conditioned emotionally to be the mind, and that's 95% of who we are, and most people are living in the familiar past or the predictable future and never in the present moment, that instead of waking up every single day and remembering your problems and the emotions associated with them, I think I'm going to disconnect from my outer environment. I'm going to retreat from all of that stimulation. I'm not going to be defined by my known environment. I'm going to put some blindfolds, I'm going to close my eyes, and now I have less sensory information coming into my brain. And if you said to your body, now you listen to me, you stay right there. Now, I'm the mind. And it's going to want to get up because it's been programmed, and you keep doing, settle it back down. That's a victory. And it's going to finally surrender to you. It's going to acquiesce. And that liberation of energy is freedom. It's joy. Why do you meditate first thing in the morning? I always say the same thing. If I can overcome me at the beginning of the day, I can overcome anybody. Now you're no longer the same person. Would you agree? And it would be worth the effort. So then we have evidence, scientific evidence that you could create really coherent brainwave patterns. We have evidence that you can rock your house in there. The arousal that's going on in that brain is not an arousal that's created from the hormones of stress, like fear, anxiety, pain, suffering, aggression, or anger. This arousal is bliss. This arousal is an ecstasy. This is arousal that is producing a transcendental state of joy. And we have the research to show, we know the area of the brain that lights up every single time when this happens is the pineal gland, that little radio receiver in the back of your brain. So this arousal is coming with such an intensity that the imagery in the person's brain, they're paying attention to that lucid moment, and they're literally having an inward experience that's greater than the betrayal. The arousal of bliss or joy is greater than the suffering or the event in the past. An experience enriches the brain, and we have research to show people change their brain circuitry, different brain. And it produces a very strong signal to the body, but the signal is not chemical. The signal is electric. It's electromagnetic. It's a thrill. It's an order in the body. It's the body aligning to order and frequency. The person's getting a biological upgrade. We have the research to show. That person who had that moment would be more loving, more kind, more present, more free. They would care less about what people thought of them. They would feel blessed every single day. Imagine that people just have to stop for a moment that is so big that they have to stop and surrender to it. So then you have to get to that place where you understand where all possibilities exist, that quantum field. You can't bring your body. You can't bring your friends. You can't bring your pain. You can't bring your opinions. You can't bring your past. Mind, you got to go in there as an awareness. The quantum field is an invisible field of energy and information that exists beyond this space-time continuum. The void is that eternal blackness, and it always exists. But if you don't pay attention to it and become aware of it, it doesn't exist for you. And if where you place your attention is where you place your energy, why don't we begin to put some of our energy into that field?